Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to CMS Podcasting. I am your host, Zoie Chambers, and also Vice President, and I am here with a guest.
Hi, my name is Stella Mabiala.
And today we will be doing a podcast episode for our international films and TV series genre. And this episode, we will be discussing the TV show on Netflix, right? Yeah, Netflix, called The Girl Who Came From Nowhere. It is a Taiwanese series. So, yeah, let's go straight into it. So, what was your overall impressions of season one?
I feel like in general, it's just a very dark TV show. It's very eerie and like full of suspense.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like to some extent, when I consume media, like TV shows and stuff, I usually tend to go for more lighter themed like TV shows. But this series was really dark, and it was like honestly sometimes it would be hard to watch, but at the same time it's like there's so much happening that you just can't look away.
Yeah, I understand. That was similar to my first impressions of season one, too. Like, I thought it was gonna be more, especially with the trailer that Netflix shows you when you first, like, go to, like, select that TV show.
Mm-hmm.
When you first to select it, it's like an upbeat type intro to
It's
it.
deceiving.
Yeah, it's like they kind of pull you in and deceive you, and then when you actually get into the episodes, it's like it kind of takes a turn for the worst. But yeah, but at the same time, like that's also really, like, really strategic of them because that's how they like grasp your attention and get you to, like, I guess, stay immersed into the series and what everything is going on. But personally, I really enjoyed it. I got hooked on this series. I want to say it was spring semester. It was like towards the end of last spring semester when I was a sophomore. It's right around final season, which was not good because I was supposed to be studying, but I was like hooked on this series.
Understandably.
Yeah, I was hooked on this series, and yeah, I just thought it was really, really interesting, and I thought overall this season one and both season two, but you haven't seen season two yet.
No, I haven't.
But season one was really good, and it made me jump straight into season two. Okay, good. So let's talk about some themes we noticed with season one.
The main character, Nano, I feel like she's sort of. One thing that I noticed about her was that she's kind of like a judge in a way. Like, she kind of exposes the human nature of the different schools that she attends, that she transfers to. So a few things that I noticed was that, like, one theme that's kind of present not only in, like, a few episodes, like, when I'm thinking about them in general, was, like, jealousy. And how, like, when somebody's consumed with jealousy, it takes an ugly head. And then, yeah, that's, like, one thing that I noticed, if you wanted to speak on.
Yeah. I noticed themes of I noticed themes of a lot of stuff, like a lot of typical high school drama stuff that you'll see in other people. But within that season, it just like shows how far it could really go, like how deep it is, you know? With some people it's just like surface level or they're jealous and stuff like that. But on other levels, like it shows how far it can go in terms of it leading to the deaths of other people, it leading to chaos and disruptance of families, friends, relationships, all of that, how really bad and trifling it can be sometimes too. Like, yeah, like never like would you think it would go that far, but what this season really did was just show you how far it could go. And I thought that was really interesting as well. Themes of jealousy. What was another thing that I would say I noticed? Themes of jealousy.
Oh, a good one that I noticed was deception too.
Yes.
Especially I mean, the characters would all deceive each other in general, but, like,
Mm-hmm.
even the main character, she's transferring from school to school and basically deceiving these people, like, these complete strangers, into, like, thinking that she's a good, I don't know what they really think.
Thinking she's, like, a good person, a normal student like everyone else, but she's not.
Yeah, she's, like, pretty, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
whatever they have their perceptions of her, and then it's, like, you see a snake in the grass, and it's like, oh, that's, I mean, maybe it's harmless, and then it comes out, and it's, like, has fangs, and it could bite you, you know?
Right,
it's, like, really dangerous.
Yeah, right. I would definitely say Deception is a really good one, too, because Nano did a great job of, like, somewhat fitting in. I mean, some episodes she chose not to, but for whatever lesson that was trying to be taught or demonstrated within that episode, she did a good job of kind of blending in. You know, a lot of people, like, I guess, kind of fled to her or was drawn into her. But the thing about Nano is she's not, like, a regular, normal student or human being. Like, she is supernatural being.
Yeah.
Like, she is a supernatural being. She has powers to reverse time, to read somebody's mind, to, I don't, like, alter reality. Like, there's so many, if I was to go through every single thing that she could do, including stuff that you haven't seen yet, because like I said, you haven't watched season 2 yet. If I was to go through, we'll be here, like, all day, but she's almost like a god within her own self.
Like a deity.
Basically. And the way she uses her powers to, like, expose people and teach people lessons and, like, deceive people, it's just, like, crazy.
And it's like they're literally caught unaware. They have no idea.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It catch them off guard. Which brings me to a question that I wanted to ask. Do you think, because a lot of people would think, who haven't seen this season would think, oh, she's just evil. She's like, this doesn't sound like a good person.
I also thought she was
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. Did
like,
you think she was a bad person for doing what she was doing?
I guess I can understand her giving out lessons, but one thing that I found odd was that, like, I don't know, the people she would choose. Like, it's like she would choose a person to go after, and they would seem normal, like a regular person, but like if they weren't put in this certain circumstance, they probably wouldn't have, like, turned like ugly in their nature the way that, given the circumstances of their predicament. But also at the same time is, like, interesting, because it's like I wouldn't there would be episodes where I was like, I didn't expect her to go after this person, because it's like she's obviously, like, looking at them and creepily smiling at them. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, her
she's
smirk.
She
has a signature. Every episode, she has her signature smirk that she does, and every time she smirks, it's very creepy. And every time she smirks, is a signal that something bad is about to happen, something bad is happening, or something bad is on its way. If I have said that right, it's on its way, happening, or has already happened. But she does that smirk. The smirk is, she's up to no good. Yeah. But my thing, I agree with you. When I first watched it, I'm like, oh my God, why is she doing all this to all these people? Like, it doesn't have to go that far. Yeah. But I feel like she knows that this is the nature of people. I feel like she has, like, a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a sort of, like, pessimistic, cynical view of humans and how we operate. Like, there's just nothing good that comes from us. That's kind of like her theory. That's kind of like why she operates the way she does, because, like, anything involving humans, anything involving this or that, the way we live our lives, the way we structure ourselves, it's just not, we're just up to no good. Human nature within itself is evil enough as it is. So she already sees the worst in us, or the worst in the people that she was messing around with. She already sees the worst in them enough to, like, where it doesn't faze her that she doesn't think she's going too far, because it's already within them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, does that make sense?
No, also to add on to that, I feel like it's like she does take it to a level, but then when these people are put in the predicament, they're trying to like evade the situation that's happening.
Yeah.
And then that causes them to also take it up a notch higher than she already did. Like, there's an episode, for instance, where this girl is plagiarizing art, and so and her family owns like a printing station or a printer, like a printing company or something like that. So she prints out these pieces of art that she hasn't done, and just splashes paint on it and calls it her own.
She just, that's basically like she plagiarizes other people's artwork and sculptures even. I think there was a part where she had to do a sculpture or something. I can't remember.
It was like a painting.
Oh, just a painting. Okay. Mixing it up
basically,
with something else.
Because the school that she was at rewards geniuses, and so she wanted to be like an art genius, but it wasn't her real art.
Yeah.
The point that I'm getting to is that Nano actually is the one who suggests to this girl that she copy and paste the art, and so she does it, and then she's called a genius and all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like an exhibition at the school where they want to like display the talent of all the geniuses at the school.
Mm-hmm.
And this girl is like stuck like Chuck, frankly, because it's like she doesn't have any real talent. She can't actually paint.
Right.
So she goes to a friend and she's like, I'm not mad at you anymore. Let's be friends. And then she asks her to break her wrist.
Yep.
So that she doesn't have to draw.
Yep.
And
like, literally.
And I was like, of all
I think it was an axe or something. It was like some.
No, a hammer.
It was a hammer. Yeah.
She brought a hammer to school.
A hammer
and
to
she was
school.
like, break my wrist. I have no talent. And then it's like her arm's broken, and it's like, okay, she doesn't have to paint anymore. And I'm like, why? I don't understand. And then it gets worse. It gets worse because on her social media, she posted that she broke her right wrist.
Mm-hmm.
But she posted on her social media that she's like ambidextrous, like she can paint with her left hand too.
Yeah, like she's really talented. Like she can do left, she can do right, she can do it with her toes, her nose. Like she was just putting up the biggest front and scam on social media.
So even though she went through all these literally drastic measures to break her hand, she still had to paint. That's just one example.
Because Nano, I remember in that episode, Nano, that's what another thing she does. Nano always knows where all these people, she knows where all these people stay, and she goes and visits her. She speaks to her parents, hi, I'm a friend of your daughter, and I just went to come visit her and see how she's doing. And it was her, the principal, and a few other people who from the school who went to check in on her. Because they were like, basically. But like a little background context to that episode, this school is very prideful. This is not just like an ordinary, regular public school or whatever. This is like a school that prides themselves on accomplishments, that prides themselves on getting good grades, the sciences, the arts. This school is like, they look at themselves as being the best of the best. And it's not only showed through the students, the teachers enforce this attitude, the principals, all of them, they enforce that, like, being the best. And they always strive their students to, like, be the best. They have, like, literally a pledge that they say. So it is just, like, this girl who has been plagiarizing other people's artwork only because, like, she's been pressured to go to that standard of her school, but she has all her life she's been overlooked. She knows deep down she's not talented in this way. She's talented in other things, but this is not the way she is. And because she's like in this environment of like pushing herself to be the best all the time, this is why she like drives herself to like do these drastic methods of like literally breaking her own like limbs off. So Nano, this is like connecting to what I previously talked about. Nano knowing all of this, Nano knowing how the school is, Nano knowing how human nature is, Nano knowing this girl, how she is within herself. Like she already knows, like she doesn't know the girl personally, but she just knows she knows everything that's going to happen before it happens. So that's why Nano was able to come in and like, well, I do remember she like literally she took her phone and held up the receipt. She's like, you posted this and this, that, the other on your social media. And the teacher
Set
and
her
principal basically set her up. The Nano was
That's
like,
what she always does. And it's
exactly.
So
Nano is very
so
strategic.
crazy.
She is very strategic, and she knows exactly what to do, when to do it, how to say it, to get it. And basically, the principal was like, okay, well, you still have your other hand. So, yeah. The teacher convinces her, like, come to the expedition. And fast forward, they're at the expedition. She's on stage in front of all these, not only her school, but all these other competing schools.
And then also her family, because her mother invites the family.
Yep. She's not only in front of her friends, but her family. Like, and she's just sitting there, not knowing what to do. And then someone comes on the stage and bum rushes them and exposes her. Like, look at all these paintings. This isn't her. This is my friend's painting. This is the painting of this person. You stole this from that person. You stole this from that person. She basically gets exposed in front of the entire community.
But because she's labeled as a genius, she gets away with it.
Basically.
But
yeah.
it's crazy.
That is just one of the many episodes within season 1 that is just like, wow. But it's just that, like, going back to what we were originally discussing, do you think it's right? It's like, you don't have to go that far.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know. Some levels, I'm not going to lie, and I hope I don't sound evil saying this, but some levels, I think it's necessary. Like, I feel like some levels, people really have to learn the hard way.
Yeah, I think
you really have to learn the hard way.
There were times where she was giving lessons, and it was like, yeah, that person deserved it. Like,
yeah.
There are times where I did think that also.
Yeah. Because some of the people that I looked at as her preying on them, some of the people I thought were like, you didn't have to go that far, or like, they weren't that bad. You know what I'm saying? They weren't that bad. But then when I really look at it, like, looking from the outside, looking in on a way I should say that, I'm like, yeah, they kind of did have to learn that.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of did have to learn their lesson in that manner. Especially the episode where the teacher was sleeping with his students.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he deserved that. I mean, there was, like, a few other things separate of his actions that happened that I felt like I pitied. But his actions, like, absolutely reprehensible. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's just, like, it's crazy because it's, like, as deceptive as we were talking about how Nano could be, she's also a replica of how some of the people in the episode are as well. Like, the teacher, deceptive.
That probably has to do with, like, also trying to blend into the, like,
Yeah.
different schools.
She has to, it's almost like she has to become them to teach them the lesson. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She has to become, like, these arrogant humans, these jealousy people who lets their selfishness go too far or are too ambitious and stuff like that. She has to become the people who she's trying to teach the lesson to teach them that lesson.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that way. Like, I kind of like it, even though, like, I do agree sometimes it goes a little too far. I kind of like that way that she does that. Like, because it's just interesting, you know? Sometimes you can't just sit down and talk with people and tell them how they are. Sometimes sometimes holding a mirror up to people isn't enough. It's not enough. Yeah. You have to do to them what they do to other people for them to understand, unfortunately. So, yeah.
And then the people who get caught in the crossfire, feel bad for them.
I know.
They don't deserve it.
Some people, I'm like, they really didn't deserve it either. Like, some people who are just bystanders and end up getting sucked into it, or some people who, I don't know, just wasn't in the situation at all. I can't remember a specific example of it, but I know there were a few in there where I was like, dang, why they have to go down like that?
Yeah, there were times where I also thought the worst of Nano, because there's, like, an episode where there's, like, a prisoner who escapes prison and basically, like, injures, like, 3 or 4 students. Like, they come in and try to, like, stab the students in the school. And so it's like, this teacher, he's holding, like, a detention, and there's, like, 3 kids in the detention, and then some kids run into the room, like, trying to get away from getting attacked by this convict, and then Nano's also in the room. Scary.
Yeah.
And then I think in that episode, before it like all transpired and stuff, I was like, this girl is going to kill everybody in that room.
Me
that's
too.
what I
Like
thought.
the way they set up the episode, I was thinking Nana was about to just mass murder and just
Yeah.
take everybody out because like the way she was commenting, because like it was kind of like an Among Us. The way they structured that episode was kind of like Among Us. Like they didn't know who did it or who to trust and stuff like that. Because there was clues suggesting or people were giving out the impression that the killer was already in the room with them when Nano came in there because no one knew who she was and stuff like that. People were growing suspicious of her, but then they started growing suspicious of each other. They started pointing fingers at each and everybody, and then she just egged them on, kind of like... She was like, why should I trust you or why should you trust him? At this 1 minute, they was just trying to kick you out, and now you want to be bestie. And she was just like...
It's like
nobody was safe.
Mafia, but like they weren't.
Yeah, nobody was safe in that room. Nobody was safe. Nobody was safe. Yeah.
I do think the worst of her sometimes like that, but I don't know. At the same time, she sometimes does things that I don't expect. Like, it's interesting. Like, there was one episode where there's a student who was a thief, and basically he steals things because I thought he was like a kleptomaniac or something like that. Like he steals because it gives him a rush or something. But I think he was stealing because it's kind of like a reactionary thing. Like when you're trying to get the attention of your parents, you like act out. So he was stealing to get like a rise out of his dad.
Yeah, his dad was just too busy with his own affairs and stuff like that, and was like literally paying no attention. And every time he got in trouble, the dad would just pay the school or pay him out of trouble, like because his dad made a lot of money. Yeah.
But in that storyline, Nano actually helps the guy. I mean, he ends up going. He ends up going to like. He ends up going to like the youth detention center because it does involve his stealing, and he gets caught. But then he's like reunited with his dad in the end, and that's all he wanted, and it was really sweet.
It's rare episodes like that. I will say to those who do watch it, it's rare episodes where it's actually a good, nice, happy ending. It's only like maybe one or two within this season. And if you think Nano's bad, I'm just telling you, wait till you see season 2, where I think her name is Yuki or Yurki or something like that. It starts with a Y. When she comes into play with this, basically, she was supposed to be like her assistant or like her partner in crime, but I'm not even going. They eventually kind of end up going against. It's bad, and she's like way worse than Nano. Like Nano did drastic measures, but you want to talk about extreme? Watch season 2. Watch season 2. Yeah, like the girl is off the chain. So, what are some like questions or things that this season has like left you dumbfounded on?
I definitely feel like in the first few episodes I was like, what is she? Is she like human? Is she immortal? Like, why can't she be killed?
Yeah, she is immortal.
That's crazy.
I know, right?
Yeah, that is really crazy.
Some episodes she actually killed herself, knowing that she'll come back. Like I think the one where it's like, I think it's the one where the guy they're like fighting over that guy because the guy is like fake in a relationship with Nano. He's like faking a relationship with Nano because a lot of people were shipping them. Yeah. People became obsessed with the relationship. They became popular on social media, and people were like basically worshiping their relationship. Yeah. It went really far, like crazy far, but they were basically worshiping the relationship, but he had a real life girlfriend outside of it. And the girlfriend wasn't bothered by it at first. She's like, oh, I know it's just for satire, whatever. But as time went on, it really started to bother the girlfriend. And, like,
it was getting serious.
It was getting really serious. But, like,
to the point where they were, like, plotting her death.
Basically. Like, the people were jumping her and fighting her because the actual girlfriend, because they thought the actual girlfriend was trying to get in the way of the real relationship, like the shipping relationship. And she, at the end, like, she killed herself. Like, she threw herself off not the actual girlfriend, but Nano threw herself off the balcony. Because, she knew she was going to come. One, she knew she was going to come back. and know she could fake playing dead and fake playing near death to basically solidify him and trap him within a relationship forever.
So
It was so crazy.
Yeah, that was a really crazy episode. And that's like another example of them taking like drastic, like
Very drastic
measures.
And for her, I didn't think she deserved. That was the episode where I'm like, she really didn't deserve that, because you understand, like, she was the actual girlfriend.
Yeah.
Nano knew she was the actual girlfriend. Nano knew she was getting in the way and making her jealous. I don't know if Nano was actually doing that on purpose or...
She was doing it.
Right, because every episode in season 1 and in season 2 as well, but since we're mainly focused on season 1 for this episode of this podcast, every episode had some form of lesson or theme that it was trying to show about the plot or what was happening within the story. And I just couldn't grasp what it was for this one.
No, me neither.
Like, jealousy, of course. Like, what we already touched on, but, like, what was she trying to teach? Like, what exactly was she trying to teach? And I couldn't understand what she was trying to get in that episode. Maybe someone else probably could or could probably see it. But for that one, I didn't think that episode was necessary to Nano's theory and Nano's mission, I guess. Her mission for why she does what she does. I don't think that episode really was stuck to her mission.
Yeah.
I think that was outside of her mission. But many people probably interpret it as different ways. Yeah.
Another question that I had was, will she ever like get caught or cross the wrong person?
I don't want to answer that.
Maybe in season 2?
I don't want to answer that. I mean, this podcast is kind of already filled with some spoilers, but I won't spoil it that much.
Okay.
That's like a big question.
It's a big question. That will be answered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds exciting then.
Yeah.
That's
Eventually everybody does meet their match, though. I will say that. So, yeah. Watch season 2. I definitely recommend it. What's another question?
One question that I had was, is she going to do this to a lot of schools?
Yes. Definitely.
That's an obvious
Every episode, almost every episode is a new school. Every episode is almost every episode is a new school. And some schools that she goes to is all girls. A lot of her episodes are like an all girls school. And some episodes are like regular schools mixed with both female and males.
Those were about all the questions that I had.
Okay.
I'm really excited for season 2.
Yes.
I will watch it.
Yes. I think it's really going to be very interesting. Just brace yourself, I would say. I'm ready for season 3. I'm ready for season 3. I want them to hurry up and come out with season 3 because of how good season 2 is. Okay, well, anything else you wanted to add or say?
This was fun.
Yeah, this was really fun. And to everybody who's watching, if you've seen it or haven't seen it, definitely go and see it or go back and rewatch it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know how you feel about the season, what you noticed. And yeah, once again, this is CMS Podcasting, our first episode for our international genre. I'm your host and vice president of Carmichael Studios, Zoie Chambers.
And I'm Stella Mabiala.
And thank you so much for tuning in.